Hi, everybody. My name is Kate Connolly. I'm an intuitive healer and teacher. I have a lot of questions in my clinic about how people process emotion and whether emotions are good or bad, and what they do when they come up with what we call negative emotions. And if you're the kind of person that has a lot of unresolved emotional stuff, if you're in a relationship that's not really serving you, if you're really stressed at work and you're finding it hard to express yourself, if you're really struggling with different elements of your health or your life, there's lots of different ways in which we suppress and hold our emotions in. So we can do it through just refusing to speak up and shutting our throat chakra down, which in time will eventually spew out. We can hold it in our body somewhere, which is probably one of the most common things to do. People will most often hold their emotions through their digestive tract, that I've noticed, not always, but most of the time. So when I work through people's digestive systems, I'm often finding and intuiting emotions. So emotions, once we clear that, the digestive system often clears up really well on its own, which is really fascinating. But it can be held anywhere. It can be held in the jaw, in the shoulder, at the back of the neck. It could be held in your foot or your ankle. I remember treating some woman's really swollen ankle once with emotions. And at the beginning of the session, it was really swollen. And at the end, the swelling was gone. And all we did was emotional work. So never underestimate what happens when we don't express emotion and we hold it in the body. So it will be held somewhere. It doesn't go away on its own ever. Just to kind of really be clear about this, it doesn't ever go away on its own. When we don't express our emotions, we will hold it somewhere. Sometimes we'll actually hold it in our auric field, in our energetic, emotional body around our body. And that can actually constantly feel like a bit of a trickle of the emotion coming through without us really knowing where it comes from. So if you're constantly feeling like a little bit irritated or a little bit angry, that can be anger sitting in your emotional body, just constantly trickling into your body, because the energy of your auric fields actually kind of comes toward, it's outside in. So if we have experiences in our emotional body which sits off our body in our auric field, those emotions will constantly be trickling through into our system and we'll be feeling it on some level. And that's usually because there's some kind of emotion, and I'm using anger as the example, that we're not processing. So it will actually come through and we will actually feel that really strongly through our system. And we don't always know why. So that's the really fascinating thing. And especially when we're not really conscious of our emotions or our behavior, especially when we go through phases like extreme stress, or in our teen kids or whatever, or if you are a teenager and you're experiencing that, that's a really normal thing to feel, because you don't necessarily have awareness as to why it's coming through into your body. But this is why it kind of sits in this emotional field, and it's emotions that you haven't processed that you're finding hard to kind of move through, and you'll just constantly feel this slight irritation until it actually gets cleared. So when people kind of think, oh, well, I don't have to deal with that right now, I'll deal with it later, most of the time people don't do that. And it will get held somewhere, either in your field or in your body or in your gut, or I mean, your gut's in your body, but not in your musculoskeletal system. It'll kind of sit in your digestive system. And I know there are people in colonics who, as they're speaking about emotional stuff, can actually have huge releases as well, out of their body, because what we hold on to with our emotions and with our body, once we speak about it and give ourselves permission to let it go, then our body will actually start to really release it. But just bearing in mind that our emotions are never bad. I have a lot of people coming in talking to me about, oh, I've got this really negative emotion about X and I just want to get rid of it. Can you just get rid of it for me? And that's not actually the goal. The goal for us is not to get rid of our bad stuff and only accept the good stuff. And the reason is because we need to have a sense of oneness for ourselves. There's this universal law of oneness, which means that we need to stay in complete acceptance of ourselves in order to heal. We have to completely accept all parts of us, the good and the bad, because we are in duality. Humans are in duality. We have good, we have bad, we have right, we have wrong, we have happy, we have sad, right? We have duality. And every time we judge the negative stuff and only choose the positive stuff, we are actually denying a whole half of ourselves that is begging to be loved, forgiven, and acknowledged. It's such a powerful thing to remember that there are no negative emotions. They are just there as a conversation. Our negative or bad thoughts or feelings are really just there to say, hey, here I am. Please help me. Please love me. Please heal me. They're not here to create havoc necessarily, except to get your attention. And they're not actually there to destroy you, except to get your attention. And they're just conversations. There's nothing wrong with them. So every time you have a negative thought, or particularly a recurring one, just remember it's probably either held out here, held in the body, or it's something that you're trying to get rid of that actually just needs to be loved, forgiven, and acknowledged. All right. I hope that's really helpful. Have a good day.